This Cartier Santos Galbée XL 2823 has been in my family for over 20 years, and for the last 2 years, it's been on my wrist. I finally understand why collectors find the Galbee so special, and why it can be said to be one of the best neo-vintage options out there today. Let me break down what I absolutely love about this watch, and a few things you need to know before buying one. The dial details. The blued sword-shaped hands and cabochon crown, they match intentionally. When the light hits it just right, it's one of those details that remind you that this is a Cartier. The two-tone, that blue against gold contrast is genuinely striking. The Roman numerals. There are no Arabic numbers, no indices, just clean classic Romans. And there's a hidden Cartier signature tucked inside the 7th numeral. A detail that most people may not notice. 2 years in, I still find myself looking at it every time I stare at the dial. The Railtrack chapter ring. That 5-minute track running inside the Roman numerals is a Cartier house signature that's been on their dials for over a century. It gives the dial depth without cluttering it. Even the date window has its own personality. The date sits between the 4 and 5 o'clock position rather than the standard 3 o'clock position, and it's become a Galbee signature detail that collectors specifically look for. Now, are you a fan of this, or do you hate it? It's a common debate, and I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. After 2 years on the wrist, those are some of the things on the dial that make it interesting. Case proportions and wearability. This is where the Galbee earns its name, and Galbee literally means curved in French. Where the original Santos had sharp angles and hard corners, Cartier softened everything with the Galbee design. The lugs curve downward, and the bracelet links are convex. Even the sapphire glass is curved. The whole watch follows your wrist rather than sitting on top of it. On paper, 32mm might sound small, but the lug-to-lug is 45mm, and on my 7-inch wrist, the 2823 wears closer to a 36 or 37mm watch. The square shape and integrated bracelet change the equation entirely. At 8.8mm thick, it disappears under the shirt cuff. For a full automatic movement, that's genuinely slim. It looks sporty because of its slab sides, just enough toughness without being too obnoxious. And after 2 years, this is one of the most comfortable watches that I own. The square bezel. The 2823 is the last of the Galbee line to carry the original square bezel, separated from the integrated bracelet. Everything that came after that replaced it with a stylized bezel that flows into the bracelet. If you want that pure classic Santos design language with the curved case, integrated bracelet, and square bezel, this is the last reference that has all three together. The integrated bracelet. The integrated bracelet changes everything about how this watch wears. It flows from case to bracelet seamlessly, there's no awkward gaps, no hard transitions, and it drapes around the wrist like it belongs there and is extremely comfortable. The clasp is beautifully done. A fully concealed butterfly clasp, 2 firm clicks and it's locked in. There's no rattling, no movement, it's sturdy and secure without feeling too tight. And after 2 decades, this bracelet is still in pretty decent shape. There's no stretch and no slop, and as you can see, it sits flush and clean. One thing to know going in is that there is no micro adjustment system or quick bracelet removal mechanism like on the modern Santos. Sizing requires removing links, but once it's fitted, it's on and it's right. Versatility and how it stands out. If I had to pick one thing for its uniqueness, it's this. The Santos has the perfect blend of sportiness, elegance, and comfort. Casual with the t-shirt and jeans, dressed up under a cuff. It handles a thick winter sweater just as well as a summer shirt, and I don't feel there's a season or occasion it can't handle. I've worn this to weddings, around the office, on vacation, out at night, and never once has it felt out of place. The square case and Roman numerals on that creamy white dial carry enough formality for dressier settings, and even when it does stand out, it stands out elegantly. Finishing and how it ages. After 2 decades of wear, there's definitely some wear and tear and battle scars. The bezel has marks, the bracelet has stories, but here's the thing, people notice it and say the same thing every time. It wears its scratches well. The brush case and bracelet paired with the polished gold bezel develop a natural patina over time, and everything starts blending together into this worn look with real character. You can tell that this watch has been places, and that's not a flaw, it's part of what makes this watch special to me. Now there's some things to consider, and let's start with the crown. That crown, as beautiful as it is genuinely difficult to grip. That small octagonal shape, combined with the crown guards, makes winding it, changing the time or the date, a real exercise in patience. It's something you'll get used to, but worth knowing going in. Scratch magnet. After 20 years of wear, the bezel tells its own story. That polished surface, whether steel or gold, picks up marks easily, and this is something Santos owners across every generation consistently mention. Personally, I've made my peace with it, and those marks are part of what makes this watch feel lived in rather than just looked at. The movement. Inside is Cartier's Calibre 049 based off an ETA 2892 automatic. It has 42 hours of power reserve in theory, but in practice, if you're rotating watches or leaving it on work for a day, you'll find yourself giving it a manual wind more than you'd expect. It's not a fault, it's just the nature of a 42-hour power reserve in real daily life. These considerations combined is exactly why I ended up getting a watch winder. Now, if you're interested in finding more about the pros and cons of a watch winder, I'll go ahead and include a link in the description below, or you can check out the video up here for more info. Now, what are your thoughts on watch winders? It's a hotly debated topic, so let me know in the comments below. 20 plus years in the family, 2 of which on my wrist, and I still notice something new every time I put it on. A mark I don't remember, a scratch of the story I'll have to ask my dad about. That's what 20 years of real life looks like on a watch that's been worn and loved. That's the Cartier Santos Galbée XL 2823 for me. Thanks so much for tuning in. If you enjoyed the video, hit that like button, and I'd really appreciate you subscribing and becoming part of the community. I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.